Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest is no stranger to the show. She is an artist, choreographer, teaching artist who specializes in North Indian classical Kathak dance. She's part of Souls of Duende, a multicultural percussive trio. She's the curator of Weisford and the director of Kalamandir Dance Company. In celebration of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, we're shining a bright light on our next guest. Please welcome Brinda Guha.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome back. This is the first time I've seen you in like over a year.
I know. BronxNet, all of you are in my heart. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good, sweetheart. Thank you for asking. But really, the question is how are you? Because I want to say if there's anyone who we feel for the most, it's dancers, because your platform is being out there with the public.
Yeah,
so how have you been?
Yeah, no, it's been really rough. It's been rough on the arts workforce. It's been rough on the dance workforce. On kind of multiple levels, not only financial and not only of course through our work and through our purpose, but also through our space and through our physicality and internally, literally, because we viscerally experience the world. We're trained for that, right? So
right.
This has been very challenging for us. Yes.
Yeah, I know. And you as you smile into the camera, I get it. And then there's all these organizations that you're a part of, that, and all these movements. And I've even participated in some of your movements, and the audience that you draw, I can't imagine what this has been for you this past year. But on the flip side, we're almost on the other side of it. So let's really shift it over to what you have been able to create in this process.
Yeah.
And how it's influenced your work. How about that?
All right. Well, we're going to keep it 100 because you and I keep it 100 every time. Okay. So it's been really rough. And so even though, even though we're working towards the other side, we're also taking inventory. You know what I mean? So we're taking a lot of inventory. We're doing a lot of rebuilding. And part of moving forward is looking back, And so all of the organizations and all of the initiatives that I'm part of are definitely in this season of taking stock and really taking measurement of what's been working, what hasn't. As my boss says, highlights, lowlights, and key learnings. And we've really been focused in that place. So really, when it comes to creating, the truth of the matter is that I had very little inspiration because we were mourning. We were very, very, we were suffering loss,
Right.
Yeah,
we're all still grieving. We're all still grieving. We're all still healing from grieving. So I get it. However, as an artist,
right.
What do? We incorporate it into
what we do is we take our energy, right? All this energy, because what we do know how to do is create, like you're saying. And what we do is we galvanize better conditions. You know what I mean? That's what I've been focused on. That's what my initiatives have been focused on. It's like, how do we create better conditions so that for the next time we have an infrastructure to fall back on? You know what I mean? And so that's really what I've been focused in a really creative and positive way, like, yes, people like to hear when artists when artists have their back against the wall, that artists are the most resilient and they know how to create them. Yes, that's all true. But really, the problem with that sentiment is that you are relying on the artist to always have their back on the wall.
Right.
To be the first
in order
to
produce
everything.
To have those circumstances.
Right. To be the first to lose, to be the last to come back. Like that's actually not our future. That's not our dream,
Right.
So we need to have an infrastructure that supports us, and that's a lot of hard work, but it does require our creativity, our strength, our resilience, our organizing, our galvanizing. It requires us to put work in creatively to do that. So that's really where I'm focused right now, through all the lenses with which I work. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It sounds like you're creating a dance legislation.
I wish, but I do work for an organization that services the field, Dance NYC, and they've really been leading me in this advocacy work, and being able to find language for it everywhere I go. Yeah.
No, and you know what? And I got to say, that's one of the things I've always admired about you is that you're an activist, even through your dance in every aspect of the word. I mean, even with the style of dance that you've chosen to fuse into your work, your style, right? I mean, this is your heritage. This is your background. And even though you study flamenco, and even though you're out there fighting feminist issues, somewhere in there's this reminder of like, this is who I am. And I'm a contribution to this bigger picture, which is what we're discussing right now.
Right. Yeah, it's a cornerstone. On a human level. Huh? Yeah, it's a cornerstone. It's the cornerstone of what I do is Indian dance, honestly. And it's interesting because the rest of it has a microphone to it because the rest of it's based in advocacy. But in Kathak and in contemporary Indian, it's really about how we move through this world. It's the how. And so a lot of the principles in our dance work, in our dance styles, more than styles, our disciplines and vocabularies teach us a lot about how to move grounded, how to stay nimble, how to stay ready to pivot, how to stay ready to, this is all in our dance training, and I try to find ways to make that happen for us in real life too.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, the synonymous version of movement versus the language, meaning, the way we're communicating right now and everything that you're saying, and how you've actually expanded the vocabulary of that movement through the contemporary style that you've now are still continue creating. And so where we are right now, and before we wrap up, because I want to make sure that everybody understands the purpose behind what we're saying, is that although I opened up acknowledging you and wishing you an Asian American Pacific Islanders Heritage Month, there's a lot of systemic turmoil that we have been enduring throughout this year, in addition to the pandemic that we all had to face. In there lies the human story of who we are as a global community. Right. And so at what point do we need to get pushed into that corner that you're referencing, that like just stepping away from being an artist, but yes, being an artist, because we all are artists. We're the creator, the writer, the director, and the star of our show called Life. And so we are now in this place where, okay, like, what are we going to do now? Yeah. And as a dancer, you just gave us technique. I don't know if you realize that. Yeah, no, I mean, that's how I see life. I was like, what would I do right now if a leg was coming at me? All right, I'd duck. You know what I mean? Right. So like these are that's the kind of metaphors I think of, or visuals, because we're visual learners, right? So that's some of us, not all of us, but that's a tool we have. So when I think of dance, it's kind of easy for me to find, not easy, but it's I can make parallels when it comes to what you're talking about, when it comes to systemic issues, right? We're talking about systems that are a lot bigger than us. You know what I mean? These systems were cultivated. What really matters here is that these systems were cultivated to keep us hopeless. And so our best fighting chance against this is our commitment to stay hopeful. That's our best chance against this, is so that we're fighting this kind of systemic oppression. There's a lot of baggage in being Asian. I gotta say, there's a lot of baggage with it, because we have that model minority stamp that's put on us that we do not claim, but it's put on us because of our contribution to society. And it is not the same as being brought here against our will, right? So it's a choice. So there's a difference here in the conditions with which Asians, a lot of Asians, at least Asians, caste privileged Asians like me, have, where we come here with ease. Not that it's easy ever,
But we come here with a certain sense of understanding of why we're coming here. So being the colonized and being the colonizer at the same time is really, it's something to reckon with. And so while we work on fighting white supremacy and while we work on systemic oppression and fighting those things, we also have to reckon with the fact that we are anti-Black and that we are anti-lower caste and lower class. You know, we have to deal with these things in order to fight these things, and we have to do it at the same time while carrying legacy, while carrying heritage, while carrying ancient storytelling and mythology, while carrying magic and solutions with us, you know? And so we have to do a lot of work at the same time. The responsibility is huge, you know?
Yeah, and it all leads back to what I've been sharing throughout this entire show, and that is, we have been placed in the position to come from this internal perspective of just being with self and really coming to terms with how to be with self and be kind with self and be compassionate with self so that you can then pour it over. Really.
I totally agree.
So, anyway, we can get into it, but we're out of time.
I know. Me and you we're a dangerous combination over here. Me and you.
But it's always lovely chatting, and that was so insightful. Thank you so much for always bringing it. All right, you guys, check this out. We're done with the conversation, but we're not done with her. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to get to see an exclusive performance celebrating the cultural style of contemporary Indian dance. Don't go anywhere.